Brian, stand by with us if you can. I'm going to bring in a couple of other guests here we have on a lot. We still have Randy as well, because we have David Weinstein joining us, okay? Dave Aronberg's joining us down in Florida. And I think we have Randy Zelin joining us. So we can go around the room here and get some thoughts. David Weinstein first. A former federal prosecutor, first up, also from Florida. And there's Randy. What do you make, David Weinstein, of all this so far? And, you know, Randy was saying earlier he thinks they might be split on those other charges as they try to figure it out on RICO. What's your thoughts?
I'm trying to wrap my head around this. Look, okay. They may have found one of the sex trafficking charges to have stuck here. So that's one of the predicate acts that they have to do in the RICO conspiracy. And even if they found him guilty on both of the sex trafficking charges, they need one more to find him guilty on the RICO conspiracy. It's also possible they acquitted on the transportation charges, and so that one's not a predicate act they can rely on, even if they found them guilty on the sex trafficking. And it could be one or more of the victims. Maybe they believed Cassandra that she was in fact sex trafficked, but not transported. So that leaves them one predicate act. They've got a laundry list of additional predicate acts they could find, and they just can't agree on another one. And some or all of the jurors are saying, well, that's it. We're done. We're finished. I don't agree that there was bribery. I don't agree that we heard talk about drug distribution. So maybe they've got a couple who think drugs were distributed, even though people asked for it. It could also be a compromise verdict. They could have said, look, we'll come to a compromise here. We're going to acquit them on the conspiracy count, the RICO, because we know that's probably going to punish him longer. And we'll find him guilty on one or more of the substantive acts, either the sex trafficking or the transportation. It's unclear. If there's a split verdict like that and it's inconsistent to some degree, that's going to be an argument on appeal. There's also some arguments about the overspill of all the evidence they brought in on the conspiracy charge. And then getting to whether or not they're going to go back in, I find it hard to believe, too, they're going to declare a mistrial. They were in trial for 7 weeks. Even if you throw out the days it was just argument, you're talking about at least 30 days worth of trial testimony. They've only been deliberating for 2. And so I think he'll send them back in. Prosecution's pushing hard for the Allen charge, the dynamite charge. It says you have to abandon your beliefs as to one side and go to the other. The defense says it's too early for that, but I think it's too early for a mistrial. I think we're probably looking at a split verdict. So maybe only one of the 4 substantive counts, and they just find him not guilty on the others based on the witness's testimony. I find it hard to believe they found him guilty on all 4 of the substantive counts and then couldn't quickly click off the boxes in the RICO verdict form, because those are 2 of the predicate acts. So a bit of a mystery to me, Connell.
David Weinstein wrapping his head around it as he says. Dave Aronberg, what about you?
All good analysis, Connell, but here's how I see it. This is bad news for Diddy, because despite that juror who came out early and apparently wasn't going to follow the instructions, it looks like they've got him on human trafficking. I think Cassie, that was the stronger of the 2. I agree on the analysis that Jane wasn't as strong of a victim, and so I think they got him on Cassie. And I do think they've got him on the Mann Act. That was always the easiest one, the transportation of prostitutes across state lines. That was easy. So why can't they come to an agreement on racketeering, as David just said? I think it's because they're not convinced this was a criminal enterprise, perhaps just an ad hoc group of people doing different things in different directions and, yeah, doing bad things. But to get their head around that this is like the mob, the mafia, that's harder to do. And that's why I think that it's a hung jury right now for racketeering, but a conviction on human trafficking, at least as it relates to Cassie. Right. And of the Mann Act violations.
Got to squeeze in one commercial break before we do that. Randy, where do you stand versus what Dave and David have said here over the last few minutes?
I always love being the least intelligent one on the panel. I think everyone, Dave and David's and Brian's analyses are spot on. For me, where it falls is you've got the July 4th holiday coming up. These jurors are not coming back after the weekend, so I think that we will see a verdict probably no later than either Wednesday night or Thursday morning.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.